All right, guys, what's up? Welcome to Onelife Podcast. I've got Erik here with us today. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
We met recently just through my photography, and you seem to have a very interesting story. I'm very interested to hear about this. So you were quite a successful businessman.
Sure. Yeah.
That's fair to say, though, right?
Yeah. Pretty well.
Where did that come from? Where did that drive? Obviously, entrepreneur. Were your parents entrepreneurs? What made you go that path?
Yeah, my dad owned his a construction company, and that's
Did he?
Yeah, that's what got me started in construction in the beginning. And I think it's kind of in our blood. My brother's a business owner. My cousins are business owners.
Is this something we just talked about at the dinner table, and it was like a regular day-to-day thing?
No, not really.
Okay.
I think being an entrepreneur is kind of in your DNA.
But you also think the permission and the ability to do that, it comes from seeing your parents do that? Because my parents didn't work for themselves, so I never really realized it was an option.
Sure, it kind of paves the way, can be done.
It can be done, right? Yeah.
But I don't really think that was the determining factor. That wasn't the thing that made me go, okay, I'm going to work for myself. Actually, the economy kind of pushed me into that direction, because I ran big construction companies up until I was about 30 or just before 30.
Other people's companies?
Yeah, other people's companies. And the economy tanked in 2008 or 2009, and that kind of pushed me into, because there was no construction work in Vegas. I couldn't get a job anywhere.
That was huge at that point, wasn't it?
Yeah. So basically, I was like, well, I got to figure something out.
Okay.
And I was making, really good money in construction. So even trying to go get a job at Home Depot or Walmart or whatever, giving my resume of operations manager of a multi-million-dollar company making X amount of dollars, they were like, you're overqualified.
Over 100,000, I'm guessing.
It was right around there.
Okay,
in my 20s.
Which is okay, and then going to $30,000, $10 an hour.
Yeah, and they just didn't want me. So
it's funny how you can be overqualified too, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I was for those types of jobs, so I kept trying, different things. And then finally, I just was like, okay, I'm just going to go into business for myself.
Okay.
And started my first company was a pool maintenance company. So I did clean pools and fix their pool equipment and stuff like that.
What makes you want to do that? You just saw an opportunity, or?
My brother had said that there was good money in pools.
Okay.
Because he opened up an excavation company and was digging people's pools here in the valley.
Okay, so he sees the demand.
So he's
how many there are.
There's money in it. So I'm like, okay, I'll try that. And
so he's building them, you're maintaining them, and you're referring work to each other, I'm sure too.
Yeah. And so I started that out with. I actually started out with one of my buddies, and it was kind of a weird situation, but he was going through a hard time. So I actually started expanding a little bit, gave him the pool side of things, and then I opened up another company for commercial property maintenance, like handyman stuff. And
were you doing it yourself, or you outsourcing?
I was doing it myself.
Oh, you were doing it yourself. So you're a hands-on type of guy too.
Yeah, back then, yeah.
Okay.
Do
you think that's important? Do you think you have to be that person, or do you think you can start a business and just delegate from the start?
I wouldn't. I mean, for me, not really. I mean,
because
your first business, I wouldn't say you go in right away delegating.
Okay.
But for me, it's I want to know. It's easier to know what everybody's position is. Once you start growing, I can replace, with this hat I was wearing with this person, but I still know their job.
And you inside out too.
Inside and out. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. That's interesting.
So I mean but that's kind of an entrepreneur type of person. They want to wear all the hats, and I didn't know this until later. I read some stuff where it's huge, right? They want to wear all the hats, and my problem was with the last company, it was getting too big, and trying to pass off these responsibilities to people that were not doing it the way I would do it.
No one cares about your business like
exactly.
You do, right?
So
that, I feel like as an entrepreneur, that is the hardest thing to do.
Yeah,
is to let go and to outsource and to delegate.
And if you're not careful, it costs you a lot of money.
It's especially these days, it's hard to find good people.
Exactly, and I ran into that problem. with certain people, and it cost me a lot of money in the beginning. And
okay.
I mean, a lot of people probably, if they would have known the truth of everything, would have been like, why didn't you just give up? You know, it was a lot of money, especially for a business starting out. It was in six figures that it cost me from people doing just stupid stuff
that could have been avoided.
Yeah.
But I mean, lessons are priceless too, aren't they?
Oh, for sure. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
We're here to learn, right?
That's interesting. What was your first entrepreneurial venture?
It was the pool.
But did you do anything as a kid? Were you selling candy?
Man, I think I was selling.
You know what I mean? Like, if it's in your blood, you tend to do something at an early age, and you don't even realize you're doing it or why you're doing it. I was
like 4 or 5, and then I took my Hot Wheel collection out in the front yard and did like a yard sale with kids.
Okay.
And they were probably out, going in their mom's purse or whatever, getting nickels and dimes,
Gotcha.
Coming by my Hot Wheels and toys. That was like the first time I did something really weird like that.
You started. So for me personally, I used to have a lot of ideas, and it got suppressed. I would say my mom specifically. Mm-hmm. And I've got a lot of respect for my parents, and you always, like, your parents' word is fact, and and I'd always writing down ideas, always be thinking of something, and she's like, no, it's a lot harder than you realize. It's this, it's that. And I think I listened way too much. So it wasn't until I was in my early 20s and started reading, I realized that, hey, it's not fact. There is another way. And I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs start at a very early age, and for some reason I suppressed it. And I always wonder, like, why that was, or why. You know what I mean? It's an interesting thought. I think about it a lot.
And I had a lot of that growing up with family members that were like, this is hard, or you can't do this, and trying to hold me down. But I think it was because I was the baby of the whole family. It was a pretty big family.
Okay.
So I was always trying to prove myself. But that was like the thing where when someone said I couldn't do something,
you prove them wrong.
I was like, watch me.
Yeah, I'm the same now.
And so when people, I've had my real estate license, a real estate business, insurance license. I've got a bunch of certificates and certifications or whatever. But I got 2 of the hardest contractors licenses in Vegas that, everybody's like, oh, it's so hard. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll just do it.
Get it done.
And so I've done a lot of things where people are like, it's really hard to do. And it's like, it's not hard. It's really, nothing is really hard. It depends on how much you want it.
Yeah, how long you're going to persist, and anything worthwhile doesn't happen overnight either, right?
No.
And you'll figure that out a long time ago.
Right. And part of the fun is, getting there, accomplishing it, doing the thing you can't do, and then even, I hate to say it, but sometimes the crash, and then going, man, how am I going to get out of this? Like, hiring bad employees that put me in a huge hole where I'm like, how am I going to get out of this? Once I got out of it, I mean, it wasn't real fun in it, but once I got out of it, I'm like, man, I'm pretty unstoppable.
Gives you a thick skin and the ability. And you like the lessons make you stronger. Like right now, one of our businesses is going through like crazy amount of stuff, but it's weird because I'm not emotionally attached, and it's weird because from experience and going through this stuff, I'm okay with it. And this is probably the worst thing we've ever experienced with business, but I'm okay with it. It's really weird because I know it's going to work out, but that comes from going through different obstacles, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. And that was the hardest one for me to learn, was because they're my baby, and making it personal or having that attachment to it is the hardest thing for me to break, and not take things personal. Split the business and personal.
Which is huge, right?
It's huge, yeah.
Have you always worked with yourself, or you had partners?
No, I've had partners.
Do you recommend that? You think you're better off by yourself? You think depends?
From my experiences, I'd prefer, I think, than being by myself.
Okay.
It just depends on. For me, it's where you are in the whole grand scheme of things, not just business. I mean, if you're a great business guy and I'm a great business guy and we can make a ton of money, the money isn't the happiness. So if we're not on the same page, like, on just moral aspect or spiritual aspect and all that kind of stuff, I probably wouldn't want to do it just because. So
you need to align with each other.
Yeah, there needs to be an alignment. But I also believe people won't come into my life really if I'm on the right path. I'm going to attract those people that are
align with you, thinking the same as you, reading the same as you. Yeah. Okay. Talk to me about stepping back, delegating, outsourcing. What's the pros and cons of that? How's some of the mistakes you made by that? Things you do differently now? Do you fire people quicker? Like,
I give a lot of chances to people, and I probably would have trusted my intuition a little bit more.
Intuition being a good word, right?
Yeah. And I have a big heart, so it's like my intuition would be like, and then I'm like, well, you got to give everybody a chance, or give them a second chance.
Yeah.
So going forward in life and business, I would not, I would listen to my intuition a little bit better, not be so, I'd be a little more choosy. With certain things I handed off to people or people that I brought on. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. How do you start to step back and delegate? Do you build systems so it's done in the way that you would do it? Like,
yeah, try.
Yeah, that's how do you replace yourself? Because you're talking about some pretty big jobs and a lot of money on the table.
Yeah, and even for other companies, I used to create like an employee handbook for the position.
Okay.
So I tried doing that, like. Do a step-by-step, if it's computer stuff, I'll have,
like a
bullet points with screenshots and all kinds of stuff and be like, here's your job,
But that's
do it
right?
exactly the way, but it never happens. I mean, it hasn't ever happened for me where they're going to do it exactly the same way. Okay. So you still need, you can't just walk away from it. And I used to think like, oh, here, did it perfect for you. All you have to do is follow, 1, 2, 3, 4 through 10.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, and not really look over their shoulders still. And you still have to.
Yeah.
You still have to be responsible and unless I could clone myself, then
I always say that, right? If you could replicate yourself 10 times, you'd be unstoppable.
But then we'd fight with each other, probably.
Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. What so you got a successful business, you start another one, you get a different skill. What makes you just keep pushing and keep trying to make more money? Like, what was behind that? Don't you get to a point where like, hey, I'm pretty good?
Well, so that was the big change in my life when I had I think at the time 3 construction companies and my real estate company still here in town. So I'd started the third one. I started the third construction company, and I mean, I was making plenty of money.
Yeah.
More than, I mean, not like millions a month or millions, it wasn't, for me, it was way more than I needed. Yeah. I had a nice house, I had toys, I had everything. And
you're saying you had 7 cars. And a bunch of toys.
Yeah, I had a like 3,000 square foot house, and it was me.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was, there was that point where I'm like, okay, I have all the things that we're supposed to have, the American dream.
Supposed to have. I like that you say that. Like society expects. That's what the American dream.
Yeah. I was pretty frugal my whole life. And finally, my brother's business partner actually he talked me into buying like this super expensive truck. And I'm like, why? And he's like, how much time do you spend in your truck? And then I'm like, yeah, it makes sense.
Okay.
It was my office. Like,
how much did you spend on the truck?
How much did I spend?
Yeah.
With all the, like, I put a lift and tires and stuff, it was like $60,000.
So it wasn't even that expensive.
No, but you're being frugal your whole life. Like,
so that was hard for you, right?
Yeah, that was the most expensive vehicle.
A lot of people talk about that when you do actually get money behind you. It's very hard to let go of it because you haven't had it.
Yeah, and
that's not even a big purchase.
Well, and it was a work truck. I mean, it's like I had leather seats, air conditioned seats. I'm like, what do I need? I'm throwing stone in the back of this.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So it was kind of, but it made sense, and I actually, it was nice because the truck was nice, and it made driving around and working as many hours as I did kind of worth it because I was working 120 hours a week.
Oh, damn. Wow.
Yeah, I was burning myself out quick.
That's insane. How old were you then?
This was I was about 40.
Were you healthy?
No.
I don't know how you could be
I was
healthy
running
doing that, right?
No,
Stress, probably unhealthy, probably, were you carrying weight? Were you like...
Yeah. I'm probably 20 pounds heavier than this.
Okay.
And, eating bad.
Because you're probably eating on the go, right? Fast food. Yeah.
I ended up putting a roll-out bed in my office because I was working.
You're like Elon Musk committed there, right?
And it was just not letting go of, like, not getting the right people. Because I got burnt now. I'm like, well, I'm not going to burn again. I'm not going to try again. I'm not going to do it again. I'll just do it myself. Yeah, and then it's like, okay, let me try to give a little bit, and then that person would fail, and then that...
No, you had 20 hours onto your week.
Yeah,
gotcha.
I just couldn't find anybody, so I'm like...
So that was one of your biggest struggles, was it?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And you can't, it's not like I can't work, I can't put it off. I got deadlines, as a contractor, I was building pools. And I've got to get the pool done. I've got got to get these projects done. So the paperwork, the payroll, the bids, the designing, all that stuff was at night while I'm out trying to run jobs. And I had a really good employee that I trusted that helped me run the jobs, and then I had a couple of good salesmen.
Okay.
But it was more of the office stuff, and then it just, and I had another company, 2 other companies I was getting off the ground at the same time, so it was too much.
That's chaos. Yeah. How do you juggle that, or are you just forced to juggle it?
Yeah, it's kind of like impossible. But that's, and it might be possible for some people, but for me it was just it was headed for a disaster. Yeah,
and with that too, you're working so much, you're not getting time to enjoy the money. You got no freedom. You got the money, but you got no. How can you possibly enjoy that? If you do get a day off,
I hadn't taken a vacation in 4 years.
Yeah, if you do get a day off, you're probably going to sleep the whole day or something anyway, right?
Yeah, sometimes I would take off in the middle of the day and just go to California, sit on the beach, and be like, I just got to unplug.
Oh, really? Okay.
I got to unplug.
But you're probably stressing doing that too.
You come back and it's more stressful because then it's like, okay, there's 45 voice messages, 100 text messages, and it was just like at that point, I was like, why am I doing this? I was making plenty of money, and it was just like, why am I doing this?
What was the realization like? Why? Was there a sudden thing that happened? Was a sudden point that you just like?
My marriage life and like family life was kind of crumbling. I'm sleeping in my office, and like old behavior patterns started popping back up where I'm like, okay, like I didn't drink at the time, and then I don't usually drink, but then I'm like going to the bar and trying to unwind that way.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, this is really going to get bad. This is headed for,
So you're working more, you're more stressed, now you gotta drink to unstress.
Yeah.
And then you're like, why am I doing this? Yeah. This is just this vicious cycle.
Yeah.
That's crazy, isn't it? So what was it? So you just how do you go from 120 hours to suddenly like scaling back and figuring out how to scale back, and how do you approach that? That's got to be stressful on its own.
Honestly, I got to a breaking point, and I was seeing this holistic therapist. And I got to a breaking point, and this is where I think I talked to you about where I went and did ayahuasca.
Yeah.
And so, like, I just got to this breaking point where I'm like, I'm losing it. I'm starting to drink again. She's like, you need to go to this center and see if that can help you.
Okay.
And
what was the center and where was it?
It's called Rhythmia Life Advancement Center.
Okay. In Vegas, or
No, it's in Costa Rica.
Oh, okay, that's right. Yep.
Yeah. So
why her and not a million other different options you could have done or used, or
why what?
Like what made what she said, why did that resonate with you, and why did you take action on that and not all the other different options you could do?
I never knew or heard of a center that was because I'd researched the ayahuasca thing for 10 years maybe, but it was like, you're going out in the jungle, I'm scared I don't get eat by a panther while I'm on some psychedelic, so she had told me about this place, and I did a little research and I'm like, I'm gone. I'm just doing it. I told the office in a month I'm going to be gone. I'm going on this retreat. And because it was just, I was at that point where, I mean, to be honest with you, it was like a suicidal point where I'm like, if like I was in so much chaos, I'm like, I got to get out of this mess that I'm in, which from a lot of people, and 6 months, a year before would have been a good mess. Like, oh man, I have all this work and all this money and all this stuff, but it just created, not a problem. It was, I think my soul really realized, like, this isn't what you're chasing this imaginary thing, this outside thing that isn't going to fulfill you. Not that money's bad or any of that stuff, but I was trying to, whatever, I was trying to do, I'm going outside with all these businesses and money and stuff like that, and it was just destroying my soul or my inner child or whatever resonates with everybody on that one.
But everyone's out there chasing that right now. That's the crazy thing.
I mean, for me, that's life.
I feel like that's what the expectation is. Like, you got to chase that American dream. You got to chase as much money as possible. When I'm a millionaire, I'm going to be happy. And then you realize that, hey, now I need to make 2 million. And then it never stops, right?
For sure.
And you're literally doing that, living that, realizing that it's BS.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And it's not so much that having those things or having business success is BS. It's if that is what you're trying to fulfill your life's purpose or your soul's purpose or whatever, whatever resonates with you.
Yeah.
For me, it's my soul's purpose. If I'm trying to do that to make that part of me full or happy, it's not going to work. It's never going to work.
So you need something deeper.
Yeah, and it's inside. It's it's for me, it's either childhood trauma, divorces, crazy things. It could be something so small that you buried in the background that's like, you didn't feel worthy, like your parents or my parents, squashing us down with some goals or dreams or something we wanted to go for. Or maybe they didn't give us attention or whatever. It could be something really small like that your inner child or your soul's like, I need to be worthy. I need to, I need to be this thing so people recognize me and I'm seen and heard and
that's
understood.
Interesting. Yeah, I hear that a lot. How is someone not where you were, but someone 6 months prior, how do you know when you're on that path? And how do you know when you really how do you avoid getting to where you got to?
Like burnout crash?
Yeah, if someone's listening to it right now, they're at that point. What's those early warning signs?
Well, for me, early warning signs would be like neglecting your health.
Yeah, that being
that's huge. I mean, we're here in a body that we only, it's only one. We don't get a new one yet.
Don't get a second chance.
Yeah. Like if you're starting to neglect your health, your mental health, your
mental health being huge too.
Yeah, your physical health, your emotional, spiritual health. When you start, I guess neglecting your true self, that's your. It's
a good sign.
Yeah,
and you also mentioned family and things too.
Yeah, and that's part of yourself. I mean, if you identify being, I'm a father of 2. If I start, not caring about them, then there's a problem.
For business of mine. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. So you do the Costa Rica thing. How long did you go for? Run me through how that worked.
It's a week.
Interesting.
It's a week-long retreat at that center.
Were you nervous, anxious, excited?
All of it. I was scared to death, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, well, back then it wasn't as popular as it is now.
It wasn't as common, right? Like people talking openly.
I never heard anybody. Yeah.
So you didn't know anyone who?
I hadn't.
So you hadn't heard Joe Rogan talking about it, or
no?
Okay.
No, I maybe heard him do it, but I didn't know anybody personally that.
What year was this?
It was right before COVID.
Okay, so
January, right before.
Like 2019.
Yeah, 19 or 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so it was around, but not too around.
Yeah, it wasn't as mainstream as it is now. I mean, it's super popular now. It seems like Aaron Rodgers and the football player I was telling you about.
Yeah.
And then a couple other famous people have been coming out saying that they've done it. But I hadn't really heard too much about it. Where were we on that?
Just about like the way you're feeling and just getting there and.
Oh yeah, I was terrified because the little bit of YouTube videos and stuff that I could find on ayahuasca was like, people screaming and puking, and I mean, it looked like an exorcism.
Yeah, that's the first thing that comes to mind, isn't it? Like purging and
So
you always hear the worst you always hear the bad stuff too, don't you?
Yeah,
for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, there were some highlighted videos, but most of them were like, man, why would I ever do this?
Yeah, okay.
But then reading about it and how it can be like 30 years of therapy in a night.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, well, I got stuff to do, so I don't want to go through 30 years of therapy. Let me go try this stuff out. And I've been battling with mental or emotional problems and addictions and alcoholism and stuff like that my whole life. So it's like, I would get that temporary relief where, I would go to AA. Like I was big in AA for a long time, spoke at places and stuff like that. But it was like, man, I keep falling back into this thing that ends up like really putting a curve in my path to wherever I'm going.
Were you open to other things before you did ayahuasca, like mushrooms or weed or anything like that?
Weed was never good for me. It always just made me paranoid. But I tried MDMA therapy.
Okay. Like the microdosing?
Yeah, microdosing of MDMA.
So you did that beforehand?
Yeah, and that was, and not by any doctor. I just read about it and got it, got it on the streets. But I got the capsules, but my problem as an addict and an alcoholic was I was like, okay, this stuff is really working great.
More is better.
Yeah, gotcha. Try 2 of them.
Yeah,
let me try 5 of them. No, but I mean, it was bad where I'm like, oh, I'm just into the same thing again
in a different
in a different it's just a different item I'm picking up, and I mean I do it with work, or I would I was gonna say
work's a kind of addiction for you, isn't it?
For sure, work was a huge
that's interesting thought.
I love creating businesses, and I hate to say it, but I love proving people wrong. When somebody says they can't do something, I'm like, oh man, I make you eat your words. But so yeah, that's what got me to that place, and I was scared to death.
So how'd it work? Like you get there, what happens? You got a week, like is it people there? Is it are you by yourself?
No, it's a big center, so there was 90 guests when I went there the
from
first
around
time.
The world.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's pretty interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah,
people like you, or just all sorts of people?
I'd say people like me. I mean, it was a pretty expensive retreat, and it's a lot more money now than when I went.
Do you mind if I ask you how much?
When I went, it was like $3,000 for a week.
Okay,
which isn't really that bad when you consider like a week vacation and somewhere you're going to spend $3,000.
Yeah.
So because it's all
I thought you were
included.
going to say more. Yeah. So you're getting fed and accommodation and
right.
Okay.
Right.
So it's not too bad.
No, but now it's like $6,500.
Okay.
So I mean, gas is triple. So I mean, I guess it's all relative, but.
So you got 90 people there from around the world, different languages, different backgrounds.
Yeah. I mean, everybody pretty much spoke English as at least a second language, but a lot of businessmen, a lot of entrepreneurs.
Okay.
A lot of people that are like probably in the same boat as I am, going, I'm gonna, I'm crashing. There's a lot of people that had illnesses, like cancer.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, a lot of people will go. Drink the medicine for kind of a last resort, like, hey, nothing else is working, I might as well try this. And that's kind of where I was, where it's like nothing else is working.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna die somehow, or I'm gonna try this.
Okay.
This ayahuasca. So you go through an intake, a medical evaluation, and all that kind of stuff. They've got medical staff like on site. So that was the thing that made me comfortable with doing it. Since then, I've drank out, just in the jungle with shaman and stuff like that. But the first time being nervous, like I don't know what's going to happen to me, if I'm going to have a heart attack or whatever.
Yeah. So it's done as legitimately as could be possible.
Yeah, as far as I know, they do. They're probably I think they're the only ones in the world that have like a full medical staff. And
okay.
And they advertise that like.
That's interesting.
Yeah, they're a licensed medical place in Costa Rica.
Which would make you a lot more comfortable.
Yeah, and it made it a lot more comfortable for me to do it. But yeah, and so you go through the medical evaluation. They ask you questions, and I mean, you could lie about a lot of the stuff, like did you get off your medications and stuff like that. But I mean, then it's kind of on you if you're lying. Then, but and then you go through classes. They kind of go through the story of why the guy that started the center and how plant medicine changed his life.
Okay.
And then they kind of brief you on like what to expect. And then there's like yoga class, breath work, and stuff like that.
Okay.
And you're on a pretty strict diet before you get there, and
so you're eating cleaner and stuff too.
Yeah, you're eating really clean. Yeah.
Okay, so it's more than just one benefit. They're trying to like all around like different benefits to you.
Yeah, they do colonics, massage. So they're really it's a health resort, and then on top of it, they're putting plant medicine at night. Four nights out of the week that you're there, you do plant medicine.
Gotcha. And then how did it work? Like as far as like doing it and like how is it done? Like I know a little, but I don't like not for someone who's done it.
They have a Moloko, which is their kind of it's like their spiritual center or whatever. That's the sacred center where you go and you do the ceremonies. So you're in there. You have mattresses and puke buckets and toilet paper and all kinds of stuff to clean you up if you're purging. And the shaman will go through like their speech or whatever, try to talk to you about the medicine and what it does and why they do what they do with the medicine.
Everyone's in the same room.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Everybody's in the same room. Yeah. And then I mean, basically after they're talking about it, they start the ceremony. You get up and you drink your little shot.
What is this? When you say ceremony, is it like? Give me an example of. Like, are you talking about like is?
I mean, like they pray. They pray over the
that's kind of like
medicine.
Is it like a religious type of ceremony?
Well, it's indigenous. It's from the Amazon. It's
okay.
So indigenous.
It's like tribal type ceremony.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then you drink it.
Yeah.
Is it like what's it presented in? How much do you drink?
It's an ounce of ayahuasca, so it's got the two. I don't know that much about like how to make it. It's cappy leaves and then the ayahuasca vine.
Okay.
And so one lets you take up more DMT, and then one has DMT.
Okay. Oh, like it helps you uptake more of it.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
And you
there's like an enzyme that like you're in your stomach that blocks you from taking more DMT.
Okay.
So this blocks that enzyme or something like that.
So you can absorb more.
Absorb more of it.
So you take in an ounce.
Yeah.
And then what's it taste like? How does it go down?
Everybody asks me what it tastes like, and it's just got its own taste. I mean,
is it like plant or is it like chemical light?
No, it's more like well, like yohimbe root type. So it kind of tastes like a rooty, dirty.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Thing, because it is.
Because it's what it is.
But you would know, because you lift weights and stuff. But like yohimbe and the droppers and stuff, you put stuff under your tongue or whatever.
It's kind of like that.
It's kind of like that.
Okay. And what is it exactly? It's extracted from a root.
A root and a leaf.
A root and a leaf. And what is the plant?
I think it's cappy leaf and then an ayahuasca vine.
Ayahuasca vine.
I can't remember what. I don't remember what the names of the stuff are.
No, I've got a lot of questions. I know nothing about this, so I'm very fascinated. Is it only grown and found down that? Is that why it's done there, or is it around the world?
I'm sure you could transplant it and grow it somewhere else, but it's native to the Amazon.
Okay, yeah. Gotcha. Any idea how they found it, where it started?
I mean,
has it been around for centuries?
For supposedly thousands of years.
Okay.
They tell you those types of stories when you're in there, but I don't really remember.
Okay, that's pretty interesting. And then after drinking it, how long before what happened?
It's about 30 minutes, and then you start to feel. I mean, it's kind of like mushrooms, but not really. I mean, I don't want to compare it to mushrooms, but I mean, the same, I've done a lot of mushroom ceremonies as well. And I guess when I say ceremony, it's with intention.
Okay.
So you're not going into, you're not going in drinking this stuff to party and have a good time. You're going, okay, I suffer from depression and I want to dig into this deeper. Can you show me where the root of this is?
Gotcha.
And ayahuasca will, for like a better word, show you like, hey, this is what's going on.
Okay.
And you want to work through it, or do you want to ignore it?
Do you are you seeing other people around you like it kind of kicking in beforehand? Is that can that freak you out a little bit? Are people responding well to it?
The first time, the first time you're putting, you're kind of trusting these people with your life. Really. So yeah, I'm checking out. I'm nervous watching everybody. What's going on?
Also, being a male, it's probably likely to take longer on a male than it would a female. I would say.
I think it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It just depends on the person.
It depends on what the medicine wants to do.
Okay.
Really, it's weird. There was I had really rough nights, and then one of the times, like the first 2 nights were horrible. Like I'm dying, and
like the experience of it,
the experience of death, or like one time I saw myself blow my brains out with a gun.
Gotcha.
And it was terrifying stuff. And I went to the shaman on, I think it was the 3rd night, and I'm like, man, I can't do it again if it's going to be as bad as these last 2 nights. And I talked to them, and they're like, well, ask the medicine to be easy on you, be gentle. And I'm like,
how weird is that?
Come on, man.
Yeah.
I'm like, whatever. So I did. I'm like, please be gentle with me, but show me what I need to see. And this night was like, I was like flying around, it was beautiful. I'm like, oh, this is great, but it still showed me. It's like, look, you're going the wrong direction. And
so you think you're going in with the wrong mental state?
Me?
Like at first?
No, I just think I needed what I needed.
Okay.
And then to trust, the medicine, trust the people, trust myself.
Okay. To kind of let go.
To kind of just let go and
okay.
And,
let it do what it's supposed to do.
Let it do what it's supposed to do.
That's interesting. How long, I don't like to say trip, but how long are you under the influence? Like 30 minutes
it's like an 8-hour journey.
Is it per night?
Yeah.
Is it really? Mm-hmm. Wow. So what time of night do you start?
We would start at like 5, 6.
Wow. That's...
Yeah.
So that 1 ounce, 8 hours of...
Well, you can drink more than one. You start off with one, and then they ask you if you want another one.
Oh, okay.
And
is that like up and down, and then you got to go back up again, or is that more for maintenance?
Sometimes you come out and you're just like sober as can be.
Okay.
And you're like, okay. For me, it's like, am I going to just sit here while everybody else is in this and just meditate and maybe try to take in what just happened, or am I going to go deeper? And I'm the guy that's like, no, I want to go deeper.
You want to push it?
Yeah, every time.
That's your personality.
It's like, I'm here for a reason. I want to get this out of me. I want, whatever's going on, I want to work through it. And I'm here now, so let's do it.
So the first 2 nights, what were the bad things coming out like?
Well, it was just like I thought.
Do you remember everything, or you just remember parts?
I remember parts.
Or just like the stuff that stands out the most.
Yeah, I don't remember the whole 8 hours, because when you're in, 30 minutes, it could seem like a year. You're like, wait, there's no way that was only 30 minutes. I was gone and for 1,000 years.
Are you sitting up? You're laying on your back?
It just depends. Some people, like I'll meditate for a little while, and then when I start feeling the medicine start to work, I just lay down.
Okay.
The first time, man, I was up running around,
Really?
screaming. I'm like, yeah. I was like, oh, there's no way I'm dead, because I thought I died.
Gotcha.
I thought I was like in this purgatory or whatever, and I'm just freaking out.
How crazy is that?
Yeah.
And it seems like real life, I'm guessing.
Totally. I was like, I'm dead. But my ego or whatever, I'm like, there's no way.
That's crazy.
And who knows? Who knows
what were the bad things that stood out to you? And then on the 3rd night, what were the good things that started coming through?
Well, it wasn't like bad. It was just scary. It was like, hey, look at, like, this is the direction you're going. You're gonna die. pretty much is what I got out of it.
So like you're seeing your future in a way, is what you're saying.
If you keep doing what you're doing right now, you're going to die this way, like all these different ways of whatever. It was like showing me. That's kind of what I got. I was like, okay, and I'm like, I get it. Like I understand. That's why I'm here.
Okay.
You know, show me. But yeah, I mean, they say show me who I've become. There's like some things that they tell you to do. So it kind of showed me like who I'd become, which was just this real careless. I didn't care for myself at all. Like health was going to crap. Yeah. Everything was just falling apart. And if I keep doing this, then I'm going to end up dying.
Okay.
And then the other part was like, to get through this, I kind of had to die anyway. Like the old me had to die.
Okay.
And it was really soft and stuff. And then I saw myself, and I saw like what my ego or whatever was trying to do to protect me.
Okay.
Like all the things it was trying to get validation for, or worthiness, and all this crazy stuff. And I like looked at myself, and I'm like, look, man, I love you, but look at what you're doing to me. And I let him go, and he like went into this dark abyss, and like I was bawling, crying, he was bawling, crying, and it was like this super huge let go moment.
Gotcha.
And like all of a sudden, like my chest exploded with like so much energy and love and everything, and it was amazing.
Like felt like a reset,
like a rebirth. Okay. Reset.
That's interesting.
Where it was like, okay, you get another chance. Like,
was there something deep that you found that maybe was causing all this? Like you talked about childhood or trauma, or there was something that you identified?
There was a lot of pain. I guess what I identified with was I created this they call it a protective personality. Like your ego is your protective side.
Okay.
So when my young little kid had trauma, whatever it was. We all have trauma, but so we create at a young age or some age, we create this protective side that is our ego or whatever, and that's kind of the way that they explain it. And for me, it makes sense. Like I never felt safe. I didn't feel, protected or anything like that. Like I felt like I was on my own at a very young age. So creating this thing, and I mean, I got jumped in school. I was always the littlest kid, so I always got beat up.
Okay.
I was always picked on, and so I created this guy that was like not meant to, don't mess with this guy.
Gotcha.
And the inside of me, my child or inner child is very sweet, loving, like most children are.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'd created this like, hey, don't mess with me, and I was that person, like
just to protect yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in a lot of fights. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I did that I'm not proud of, but it got me to where I am now.
Okay.
So I was like thankful, like, hey, thanks, I needed you to get me to this point, but I don't need you anymore.
That's interesting. I like that.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
I don't want that guy anymore.
Yeah, okay. So, now I'm a grown adult. I've got it together.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I'm probably a teenager. Now, before I was a 4-year-old in a grown man's body throwing tantrums when people would, do.
That's really interesting. Yeah. And then like your third, your fourth night in, what are you experiencing there?
So the third night was where I had the real big like breakthrough where I
like the rebirthing, like you said.
Yeah, I mean it was wild. There was some crazy stuff. I saw a buffalo. Like I had, like somebody said, that's my spirit animal. There's this herd of buffalo, and we're like charging through the storm, and it was like empowering. I mean, there's some wild stuff. And then that was the third night. The fourth night was a different type of medicine. I mean, it's still ayahuasca, but it's called yahe.
What's it called?
Yahe.
Yahe.
And it's a Colombian medicine.
Okay.
I think they had different types. And I don't know the specifics. I actually have a friend coming that would be great for your podcast too, and he could answer all this stuff.
Okay, awesome.
So that the fourth night was a real purgative. I hadn't really puked or crapped or anything. It was all crying and yawning and like laughing, but a lot of crying, just like balled up fetal position crying. And this was a purgative, more of a, I puked a little bit, but it was more, I was in the bathroom, going every 2 seconds. So it really cleaned out my body. It was like a huge detox of all the stuff that was inside of me.
Gotcha. So you feel like whatever you brought up, you kind of like vomited and you got rid of it that way.
Yeah, I got rid of it.
That's interesting. Mm-hmm. That's really interesting. And then, so you did the 4 day. Is there a couple of days after the 4th night where you like meditate?
Yeah, you have 2. Well, because the 4th night goes into like Friday morning.
Okay, so you still got 3 more days.
So you have 1 more day after that. It's from Saturday to Saturday.
Okay, so what's done on those last 2 days?
You're kind of just hanging out. Yeah, you're just talking to people. There's classes every day, so it's like you talk about what happened the night before.
It's openly in class and must be some interesting stuff being shared there.
Oh yeah, I mean, people. Yeah, there's so much trauma that people like, buried trauma. Like there's people saying that they didn't know they were molested and
oh wow,
and
okay, so that
show
really
pictures of that and letting go of that. And for me, it doesn't necessarily mean, like, I don't like to take it as that's exactly what happened, because I've seen some really crazy stuff, but I look more inside of like, okay, well, what's behind that? Like, why is it showing me that? It doesn't mean that necessarily happened to me, but why is it showing me that? Okay. Because I mean, obviously my dad didn't kill me, but it showed me my dad killing me when I was like 3 years old, and like me being buried and stuff like that. So, but what did it mean? And to me, there was a deep rooted fear of my dad. Okay. And at a very young age, and that's part of what created this, I need to protect myself because nobody else will type of thing. So, sorry, I feel like I digressed or segued off of something else. No.
That's very interesting. Was there anyone there who just wasn't a believer afterwards, or like, hey, this is stupid, like this is a waste of money? Or was everybody on board and everybody had got what they wanted out of it? Because you're talking about 90 people. I mean, that's a lot of different emotions and backgrounds and baggage.
We all kind of stayed in touch, or not all of us, but a lot of that first group I was in stayed pretty much in touch throughout the next year. I still talk to a lot of them.
Really?
But
which is fascinating.
I think a lot of people, I feel like, I mean, they say that at that center that's like 97% success rate. Okay. I felt like, during that week, you're kind of on a cloud of, wow, like you have so much gratitude and you love everybody so much. I mean, it's pretty amazing what happens after a week of the stuff. Okay. So, I mean,
that's interesting. Do you come back? Are you telling everybody about it? Are you keeping it quiet because most people would probably think the worst?
When I came back, I was telling everybody about it. I'm like, really? I'll pay for everybody to go.
Really? Yeah. Was a lot of judgment? People not understanding? People thinking you're addicted to something?
They still think I'm crazy.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at, right?
Yeah, people still probably think I'm
crazy. And I got to be honest, like, it's not until I started seeing very intelligent, successful people talk openly about this. I'm like, okay, there's got to be some truth behind this. If you saw a bunch of junkies talking about this, you're like, oh, whatever. But when you start to see people like yourself and many, many, many other people like that, you're like, what is this? I need to know more about this.
Yeah, and not everybody goes as crazy as I did. I mean, everybody thought I was crazy because I came back. I'm like, all right, I'm selling my businesses. I'm going to move to Costa Rica.
So is that what happened? Was it?
Yeah. So I when I came back, I was here for a little bit. Well, COVID happened. The whole COVID thing happened, and I'm like, I don't want to be in this. Okay. Whatever this thing is, I don't want any part of it. So I sold my businesses and I started a business in Costa Rica.
Did you really?
Yeah.
So you sold what, 5 businesses? Oh.
Yeah. Well, 2 of them were kind of together, and I sold one, and 2 of them were together, and then shut down the other ones. I just.
How long did it take you to do it? That seems like you couldn't do that overnight.
3 months, 3 months.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And you just freed up the money and
yeah.
That's crazy.
Went to Costa Rica.
Just by yourself.
Yeah. There was.
How crazy is that? Like, hey, come back and by myself. I'm going to sell my businesses. And did you have a lot of free cash beforehand? Like, or was most of your money invested in the businesses?
No, most of my money was invested in businesses and then toys. Like, I had cars and.
So you sold up everything. You sold all your toys, your cars,
guns, and.
Did you really? Yeah. So you just liquidated everything.
Everything.
Interesting.
Yeah, everything left with a couple suitcases.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah. That's nuts.
See, that's why everybody thinks I'm crazy.
I don't mean like you being crazy. That's crazy. Like that's amazing.
No, it was something I needed to do. It's the best thing I ever did.
That's not. So then, when you couple suitcases, do you go and buy property there? You just rent?
I bought a little condo in Playa Langosta.
Okay.
And sight unseen, I actually had a friend there that I told her, I actually met her at the Arrhythmia place. I was like, hey, I'm going to move there and start a business. What's a good business we can open up? And I was like, oh, me and you can open it together, blah, blah, blah. So she actually helped me find my place. I bought a condo there. And then, went there and started up a wellness center.
Oh, did you really?
It has indoor cycling and it was like yoga and aerial silks. And then at night, now at night, it's a nightclub.
Is it really?
Yeah.
And you still got it, I'm guessing.
What's that?
You still got it?
Yeah. Well, I gave it to, I decided to come back. And so I gave it to her and one of the employees.
Okay.
I was just like, I got to go back to the States. I have a grandson now that was born. So,
okay.
So I'm like, I'll go back and be closer to them.
Gotcha. So how long were you down there for?
2 years.
Yeah. And how was that for you? Were you?
It was a journey. It was fun.
Were you just completely were you obsessed with this new business, or you just kind of?
Well, that's the thing
Did you fall back in old habits?
I got back in that habit of now I'm spending my life in this business, and then I was kind of getting up or going back into the old behaviors. So I went back and to Arrhythmia again.
Oh, did you really? How long into it? Like a year later or 6 months later?
Yeah, it was like a year, almost a year later.
Okay, so it took you a year to kind of fall back in old habits and I need to break this again.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
But it was my own fault where I'm like, oh, I'm right back into it.
Just in a different
country. And I'm like, okay.
And you just sold it. I'm sure you didn't have any money problems. You just sold all this stuff. I'm sure you didn't need the money.
No,
you probably could have just sat there on the beach for 2 years and been fine.
Yeah, probably longer than that.
Especially, especially down there.
Probably longer than that, but
probably for the rest of your life potentially.
I was sitting there going, "Why did I just do this?" And that's kind of another reason why I not walked away, but I mean, I kept it together and helped her run it for a year, and then I'm like, I can't do this anymore.
That's crazy.
Because I'm doing the same thing, but I did medicine again. Or went back there for a week, and then I actually took my son for a week.
Oh, did you really? How was he when he went?
24.
How was that for him?
It changed his life.
Okay.
Yeah, same thing.
So he was open to it because of you?
He was kind of in the same situation where he was super depressed. He was in the Marines, so he had a lot of PTSD.
Okay.
And he was just kind of over it. And I'm like, dude, just come here, go through this week thing. Change me, maybe it'll do something for you. I'm like, and I'll go with you. So he's he just kind of got out of it why am I not doing what I want to do?
Okay.
I mean, really is what he got out of it. Healed a lot of stuff, but then he's like, why am I not doing what I want to be doing? And I'm like, go do whatever it is you want to do.
That's awesome.
And I'll be proud of you no matter what whatever it is. Just don't go kill people.
2 years down there, do you start implementing good habits? You start meditating, breath work. When does that kind of start to come into your life?
Well, I practiced meditation before plant medicine, so that I kind of kept that with me. But yeah, the weird thing is the whole wellness center that I opened up. I mean, now thinking about it and how the way I see the universe working and God and all that stuff is like, wow, man, I needed to have this wellness center so I can learn yoga, so I can eat healthy, so I can do all these things. And it kind of really forced me to do a lot of things that I would have never done.
Interesting. So you start this business, but then you actually start doing the activities yourself.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
From day one, or did it take you a while?
No, I was.
Okay.
I'm like.
So what were you doing on a consistent basis?
I was doing yoga consistently, meditation, consistently, and then the cycle studio I did a little bit. I wasn't a huge fan of it because my business partner was pretty hardcore.
Oh, she's one of those crazy cyclist girls.
Yeah, she's an athlete, man.
Like super fit with the big ass legs.
She can kick your butt. So
those girls are nuts.
But she also is a yoga instructor. So like yoga, breath work, meditation. We'd have sound healings in there.
What's sound healing?
Like with the bowls and stuff.
Oh, it is the bowl. That's the first thing that came to mind. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, just all kinds of weird healing modalities come in. The Reiki healers.
Okay.
All kinds of stuff would come in my center and I'd be like, yeah, go ahead, see if put a flyer out. And
so would you would just rent the space and they would run their own business within the
I would let them come in and do some of that stuff.
Okay.
Because I fixed up. I did the tenant improvements on it. So we had a full like vegan juice bar, and we had aerial silks. And then upstairs was the cycle studio, but it was a really good space for doing breath work, meditation, sound healing,
and a beautiful place to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What's some of the benefits you started like from doing yoga and the meditation, like really getting serious about this stuff? What benefits did you find?
The biggest benefit. Well, for one, my health. Are you keeping your stress down? Are you losing weight? I was losing. I was really fit. Yeah, I lost a bunch of weight. Probably about 10 pounds less than I am now.
Okay.
I usually was around 200 to 225, 200 to 225. Now I'm 185, and when I was living in Costa Rica, I was at 170.
Okay, which is probably ideal for like your size.
Yeah, it's exactly where I should be, like 170. But my health, the physical health was really amazing. My mental health. The biggest thing was just learning to be present. Like yoga really makes you, especially when you're a beginner, kind of be present because you feel everything and you're trying to balance and you're just like, you're here. Shaking. You're not thinking about anything else. You're just like, okay, I'm right here. So being present and I guess that would be probably the biggest thing, and letting go of pretty much everything, because I look like a clown when I do yoga, and I own the center and I'm doing yoga in front of all these people, so it's like.
But I think that's a great thing, because you don't have to be an expert. The fact you're taking action, it can help inspire others.
Yeah, sure.
He can do it. He looks like that. He's not very good at it. Therefore, I can give it a go too.
For sure. Yeah, I gave a lot of people confidence.
Yeah. Sometimes when people are really good at something, you feel more intimidated.
Yeah.
Like, hey, everyone's great and I suck.
Yeah.
I like that. So what was it, your grandson brought you back to the States? Was it just you missed the States?
The biggest thing was probably the grandson. I wanted to be closer to him and my son, and
you just got one son?
I have two boys.
How old are they?
The one that had the baby, he's 21.
Okay.
They just turned 22, I think.
Okay. We're the guys have worse with birthdays.
I don't know.
And your other son's a little bit older.
Yeah, he's 26.
Okay. Are they both in Vegas now?
From Vegas. They don't live here now.
Okay.
One's in Texas and one's in Idaho.
Where's your grandson at?
Idaho.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just a quick flight to...
Yeah, and they were here, and then he got a job opportunity to go to Idaho as soon as I came back here.
Oh, damn.
And then, and then they moved there. So, kind of don't know what I'm doing right now. I have no idea where I'm moving.
So what do you right? So now what do you do for work? What do you do for money? You're not work. You don't need it.
I don't need it yet.
Okay, so you got plenty of savings from the businesses and your ventures.
Yeah.
Okay.
I made some pretty good money on my condo that I bought in Costa Rica.
Okay.
I bought it when everything was pretty low, and then the market went crazy.
Gotcha. So right now you're comfortable and you're cruising.
I don't need to work yet, but I'll open a business or do something soon.
How do you get your head around that? That's got to be hard for you, right? Just just not really achieve. I wouldn't say not achieving anything, but not focused and not chipping away at something, which probably goes against everything that is in your DNA. Or have you learned to take control of that now?
No, it's hard because there's times where I start beating myself up.
That's what I'm getting at.
What are you doing with your life? But I mean, through all the medicine and yoga and meditation, it's kind of like, okay, just be quiet. I mean, I'm fine. I don't need to do anything.
That's the thing, right? It's society's expectation that, hey, if I'm not doing something, I'm a nobody. But if you got money behind you, you don't have to work. Why not? Like,
right.
If you're being smart enough, you worked hard enough to be free, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But for some reason, there's pressure on us, right?
Yeah, and I get what you're saying, but I don't have that pressure where, like, I don't really care what anybody else thinks, obviously. I mean, it's more of a, okay, like, what do I want to do? I want to be, some sort of a beneficial presence on this planet.
Okay.
I want to do something. So that's what kind of eats me up. And then I'm like, dude, you've worked your most of your life away. You're taking 6 months of a break. I mean, it's really not too bad. Because I opened up the business there and ran it for a year. I walked away from it 9 months ago. So in the last 9 months, I've sold all my stuff, moved back here, and then trying to start over.
Okay.
So,
do you help other people? Do you give back? Do you think that's something that might be a good cause for you?
No, I try to help and give back. I think naturally it's just in something that I do.
What about, like, you seem like you're very good business. What about like a business coach or putting content online or?
Yeah, I'm just trying to find out whatever that thing is. And that's the hardest part is usually, I mean, I'll have an idea or something will come to me and I'll blow up with passion and go, 100 miles an hour at it. And it's just maybe this is part of the medicine or whatever, and this whole transformation is it's not going to be like that this time.
Okay.
This time it's going to come to me. I'm going to really feel it. I'm going to really think about it, and it's going to be it's probably going to be my life thing.
Okay.
This will be the thing that I do.
So you're taking your time to really figure that out.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get obsessed with it.
Exactly.
Unless I see you in 2 years' time, you're like, so.
Yeah, right.
What's some of your daily habits, like your good daily habits? Like, I know you meditate every day, right?
Yeah, so I wake up every morning and typically I start my day with a meditation.
Okay. How long does that go for?
It just depends. I mean, sometimes I can get bad and be gone for like 3 hours in a meditation.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes I'm just, it's been 3 hours. But it really just, however long it takes me to get to that point.
Okay. And what is that point?
The stillness. Where
like the mental stillness.
Yeah. There's just nothing going on.
Okay.
And I feel yeah, I mean, because I've been meditating for a long time, and you have all the thoughts that as soon as I sit in the lotus position, it's just like, that chatter, and then as soon as that goes away and I can breathe, focus on my breath, and then I'm just kind of nowhere for a second so
that's where you're trying to get to.
Yeah, because then I'll come out of it because I'm like, I'm there. You're out.
Okay.
Because you know that you're there, so you're out.
Gotcha. Okay. So I met you a week and a half ago. A lot of people meditate around me. A lot of people say it. I started the night I talked to you.
Oh, good.
So I've been doing it for a week and a half now.
Nice.
And it's been really good.
Yeah.
Just doing what you said, at least 10 minutes a day. Getting up to like 20 minutes lately. But I understand when you sit down and all of a sudden, like, you don't realize how rapid your mind's going.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh my God, I got a lot of thoughts going on right now.
And that's always happening.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. I was like, is this the way I feel all day, every day? And it is, right? That's what you're saying.
Yeah,
and then I get to that point where I'm like, hey, I'm calm, I'm still. I think that's where I'm meant to get to. And some nights it's really hard, and some nights I'm like, I fall into it a lot easier.
Yeah.
So it's practice, isn't it? The more you do it, the easier you get there.
Sure, and I think, the more you do it, for sure. Like, I don't know if you're at the point, there was a part years and years ago where I'd start getting frustrated with my thoughts. Like I'd be like, why am I still having these thoughts? Or I'd have
like you think about some random stuff, right?
And I'd have an emotion attached to that.
Okay.
So those don't ever, like, I don't have the emotional attachment to any thought anymore.
Interesting.
That's gone. I'll get the thoughts. I'll be like, okay, that's interesting. Like that was a weird one or whatever. But
it's taken years to get to that point.
Yeah.
Okay.
But and a lot of work on myself. I mean, really, the last 3 years of my life has been just, I don't care about business and money and anything else. I'm working on myself and all the stuff that the medicine showed me I needed to fix, in myself.
Okay.
So, but yeah, that when that kind of goes away, and then you just kind of see your thoughts, and then eventually the thoughts stop, where you're just, and that's where you get to that real zen or peaceful moment where you're just like,
that's interesting. I sleep really well, but I've been doing it before bed. I sleep even better. My sleep is incredible the last week or so. Nice. Yeah, I think because I'm going to bed with such a clear mind that I'm just, even I'm doing it at 10 o'clock at night, I'm in bed by 10:30 and I'm out.
Nice.
And I'm waking up early and I'm feeling better. So
amazing.
I'm like, there's a lot of extra benefits that come in with that.
Sure. Oh yeah.
And I notice even with business and stress, I'm very like nonchalant, a lot more relaxed about it. Mm-hmm. Like I said, the stuff going on right now with the business, but I'm so chilled about it because I know it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
It's nice. What other habits? Are you doing breath work on a daily basis?
Not
yoga,
daily, but I do breath work.
exercise?
I actually just did a breath work at the Area 15.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it was.
How was that?
It was awesome. A little different because it's still, for some reason, Vegas is still like go 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 go. So it was like we did the breath work and then everybody's like gone, and I'm not used to that.
Okay, yeah.
Usually there's a little socializing, like, hey, how are you? Nice to meet you. But there wasn't any of that. But it was really good. I love breath work. Breath work is huge. If I get to a point where I think that I'm getting a little bit too much anxiety or something's a little bit too much pressure, I know breath work will take it out.
When you say breath work, is it somebody that you like it guides you, someone you look up to?
Yeah, somebody guides you, like Wim Hof.
Yeah, I was going to say I love Wim Hof.
Yeah.
So he's a big influence, would you say, or?
I've only done a couple of his. I can do my own breath work. I don't really need somebody to.
Okay.
Yeah.
But is that just from doing it? Is that kind of like meditation, having guided meditations and then being able to do it yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I actually like going to a group setting for breath work because it's just, I can go a lot deeper because they kind of push you. If you have somebody that's doing like a transformative or type of breath work where they're trying to guide you, and like at Rhythmia, their breath work classes were amazing. And the people that ran them, they did a phenomenal job. And I had a bunch of good breathwork people that came to my studio.
You mentioned Wim Hof. You ever do cold therapy, cold showers, ice bath?
Ice baths, yeah.
How's that go for you? I do cold showers. I've done it for 6 years.
I'll do in Costa Rica. There's a lot of places don't have hot water.
Okay, so
you're taking a cold shower,
and that's the way it used to be.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as hot water at one point.
Yeah, I love the hot shower or whatever, but for the most part, I'll go kind of hot and then I'll back it down to cold at the end to kind of get me up. But I've done. I went to hot springs in Colorado, and then it's right there on the river. So you go from their hot springs, 107 degrees to the
like 48
50,
or
48 degrees.
Yeah.
And the last one I did, that one shocked me a little bit much, made me kind of lightheaded. So I was like, whoa,
gotcha.
It was a little bit too extreme.
I love doing that. Even the shower, I'm like, if I'm sore from the gym and I get a lot of lactic acid, cold, hot, and I'll walk out feeling brand new again.
Oh yeah, it's good.
But yeah, like from start to finish, when I have a shower, it's cold. Yeah. This morning it was freezing. Every morning it's freezing. But for me, it's the most. It's doing a daily challenge that makes me uncomfortable, and that's the main reason I do it. And then I learned about Wim Hof, and it's like cold shower day keeps the doctor away. I don't get sick anymore. So it was more for mental state, and then I realized there's a lot of health benefits that come with that.
Yeah, it does a lot of resetting to your nervous system and
stuff. There's so many benefits come with it. And I always think if you can stand there in a cold shower and make yourself do it, and no one in the world cares if you do it, it just makes you mentally stronger too.
Yeah.
And I feel like mental strength is one of the most important things.
For sure.
Are you exercising? You're eating clean? Are you doing that? Are you?
Yeah. So I've been eating clean since I did the first plant medicine ceremony. More of a, not vegan, but more vegetarian.
Like plant-based,
less meat. However, when I did come back to the States, I mean, I go, it's a little bit different.
It's a little temptation.
Crazy.
Yeah,
here,
right?
I gained 10 pounds, so I'm like, man, I miss.
What's your weakness here in the States?
I'm like 190 right now.
Oh, but is it In-N-Out? Is it Chick-fil-A? Like what?
I've done a couple of the fast food like burger and Chick-fil-A, but more of like I love Thai food. So going and eating at all the good restaurants, because in Costa Rica it's not.
Yeah, you don't have the option, right?
Not as much as there.
And it's probably a lot healthier there.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, America's diet is awful.
Horrible. Yeah.
Even Australia to America, the food here is awful compared to Australia.
Yeah, it's not healthy.
Yeah, it's not. It's scary.
I mean, I've gained 20 pounds since I've been here.
Yeah.
In 4 months.
Yeah, that's hard, right?
Yeah, it's tough. But I mean, there's also a lot more to do than that. I was a lot more active there than I am here. I work out as much as I can. I've had like shoulder surgeries and stuff like that, so it's a lot harder for me.
You just go to the gym, or what do you do?
Yeah, I go to the gym, or I'll do walk.
Okay.
We have where we're staying. There's a couple gyms in the community.
Okay.
So I'll do my meditation. Then I'll go hit the gym, and then I try to go somewhere in nature, somewhere and call it grounding, like walk barefoot in the grass or something like that.
Okay. It's hard to do here in Vegas, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is in any big city, and that's one thing that I think a lot of people don't understand is, we got rubber shoes on, we have concrete, we have metal in our cars, we have all this stuff, and never get real connected to the earth.
Yeah.
And I mean, just go walk in grass barefoot. It doesn't feel good unless you're allergic to it, or go stand in a stream.
Well, I surfed my whole life.
Oh,
so I understand that more than anybody.
Yeah,
I was 8 hours a day out there with my best friends in the surf, having the time of my life with nature.
Mm-hmm.
It's the most rewarding thing.
Yeah.
And I think about, like, I'm 42 and this is when I'm 15, 16. So I think about it all the time.
Yeah.
I miss it so much. Some of my happiest memories is out there surfing with my friends.
For sure.
Love it.
That's one of the best meditations is surfing. Because I surfed a little bit in Costa Rica, and I mean, you're there, you're in it.
I got dolphins swimming around me. There's a whale swimming out there at the back.
It's kind of hard not to be present when you're.
Yeah, you're looking at even where I lived, it was a small coastal town. So when you're looking at the land, it's not a single person there. Yeah. You've just walked half an hour down this isolated path to get to this amazing spot.
Yeah.
I totally get it.
Oh, yeah.
And now I live in the desert. I not that I'm depressed, but I definitely suffer. Definitely not as happy living in Vegas. 100%. I can definitely say that because I'm spoiled. I grew up on the beach. I surfed my whole life. I've always lived a stone's throw from the beach. Been able to go to a park, the sand, there's grass, there's trees. Now living in a desert, which is all artificial and concrete, I definitely have a hard time.
Yeah.
So I totally get what you're saying.
Get back to nature.
Yeah. The DMT and smoking it. What's that all about? Have you done it?
I have not done it, and I heard there's like DMT vape pens and stuff like that, which kind of scares me.
It's like that 3 inhale thing they talk about, right? Like Joe Rogan talks about that.
Joe Rogan, yeah, and I know he's done DMT, and there's also a thing called Bufo, which is from
Bufo. What is that?
Bufo. It's 5-MeO DMT. So it's smoking the DMT, but it's from a toad.
Oh, that toad's back.
Yeah.
Okay, I have heard of this. It's like people will lick it and stuff too, right?
Probably. Yeah.
I've heard the licking thing. I think it's even Family Guy, maybe.
Maybe. I've never smoked DMT. I've never done Bufo. My whole thing of it is it's kind of sad, like that it's becoming more of a commercialized thing, and I've seen like advertisements for some countries have DMT pens, and I think you're taking the meaning out of it. Now you're commercializing it, and and everything's energy. So you're putting a commercialized money thing into something that's so usually spiritual.
Maybe weed was like that at one point years ago.
Well, for sure.
Because that's 100% commercial, especially now.
Yeah. There's people. I mean, I know a lot of people that use marijuana for medicinal purposes.
Yeah.
And even in a ceremonial, situation where they're putting their intention in it, like, hey, I have anxiety, please take away the anxiety, and if it works for you, fine. But once you're abusing anything, you're taking the God out of it. You're taking the good stuff out of it, in my opinion.
What's your thoughts on there's a lot of like MDMA, there's a lot of things that like they ban, especially in this country. You think they need to be banned? You think they're good for you? You think they should be regulated? Like Oregon, I think it's free for all. Like you can get whatever you want legally. What's your thoughts on drugs and the control of it? I mean, even heroin. Some people talk about heroin openly being a good thing if it's done right and it's manufactured clean.
But yeah,
what's your thoughts on this?
There's a country that made everything legal and supposedly did really well. It was like Brazil or somewhere in South America. In my opinion, well, there's a lot of bigger problems in the world, in my opinion, that we should be kind of focusing on. But in my opinion, legalize it all. Have it clean, and then take that money to put people through, rehabilitation. Then when the guy's like, oh, I don't want to do heroin anymore, we just took all that money, tax money, and say, okay, well, we have this center over here where you can kind of get real help, and we can rehabilitate you and get you back out and training and something, and be a benefit to society, not be a burden.
Because they're saying, like, if you did do that, be less crime. You've got clean drugs. You're not this bathtub made stuff.
Right.
So, like, it's going to be less deaths, less addiction, more benefits from it. I personally don't do anything, but I'm just wondering about your opinion on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I wish I knew the country what it was, because I read an article where they did exactly, or not exactly, but what I'm talking about, where they took the tax money, and then because it was legal now, the percentage of people using it kept dropping more and more and more. But it was also because they used that tax money to help them get real help. Throwing somebody in prison because they use drugs is not giving them any help.
Yeah, that's the thing. And then you got
that system, in my opinion, is completely broken.
Oh, and then mainly it's America, right? Like you got
I've never lived.
Yeah, I mean, you got people in jail now for weed, and it's legal in half the country. It doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Well, I mean, in just the jail, the prison system in general, in my opinion, is completely broken. And I'm gonna stand firm on that, because what are they doing to help these people when they get out, or are they even trying to help them when they get out?
It's not there to help people.
No, once you get a little bit of a rap sheet, good luck in this country.
Yeah,
you're not going to get back on your feet very easily. You need a community to really help you, and I think this country lacks that for sure.
No, I totally agree. Just finally, what makes you happy now? Are you happy?
Sure. And
are you happier, or are you happy?
I have something else.
Okay.
I don't chase happiness. I mean, for me, like, being happy is not really a state of being. I think that's an experience. Like, something can make me happy. Like if I see a bird and I feel a bit of joy,
or you hear your first song,
little things like that. I'm in a state of like acceptance and peace and where it's just I mean, I can be happy when I feel a really good any type of good emotion, like even a big deep breath, and I can feel some of those endorphins kind of,
Do you do gratification?
Like a list or anything?
I mean, like, just, a lot of people like be grateful for what they have. 3 things I write down a day, what they're grateful for, or...
Yeah, I do. That's part of my daily practice.
Okay. Yeah. So you write things down?
I journal, but not all the time. For me, that's where it's like that momentary gratitude. Like if honestly, if I see a hummingbird, I'm like, oh my God, I got to see a hummingbird today. I mean,
so you don't need to write it down or anything.
Yeah,
you just appreciate the fact that
and I have those
you're being more present,
me.
being a good way to put it, right?
Sure.
You're off your phone and you're more present on nature and what's around you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And having people that actually I can talk to about, like my group of people before, if I was like, oh my gosh, I saw a hummingbird today, they'd be like, who gives it? And I'd be like, well, whatever. But,
how much money did you
now,
make?
What kind of car did you have? Where'd you go this weekend? No, I saw a hummingbird. But like I'll go drive up to Red Rock because I'm right there on Charleston. So I'll just 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I'm up there and I look at the mountains and I'm just like, wow, like that's beautiful. And I'll turn around and come back. Is that happier? I don't know. All it is life is more abundant. Like there's so many things that I'm grateful for and I don't take for granted anymore.
Take for granted. I like that. And as well as your health and you personally, your mental state, all those things. Yeah. What do you tell someone who's hustling right now? They're making good money, but the family's starting to suffer, the marriage is suffering, the health is suffering. What would you kind of tell that person?
I mean, that would be a good thing to like sit down and journal, like what's really important to you. And I guess one of the biggest takeaways I got from plant medicine for me was what's important. And when you realize what is important, it's things like your health. So I could have $100 million in the bank, but if I'm sitting on my deathbed with,
it doesn't buy health back,
it doesn't do any good.
Yeah, health is your wealth.
And your health is your wealth. And it's not, and I don't mean just physical health. I mean, there's so many different layers to that because you could be the fittest person in the world, but if you're wanting to blow your brains out every day, then what good is it?
Okay.
So it's all those.
Or even just being lonely, or
mind, body, soul, type of thing.
Soul. I like that.
Make my mind, keep my mind clear and good thoughts. I mean, we're our worst enemy. I'm fat. I'm ugly. I'm bald. Those not too many people talk to us the way we talk to ourselves.
Yeah, I was going to say that the way that we talk to ourselves, you'll never say it to somebody else.
No, never.
So why the hell do you say it to ourselves?
Exactly. Yeah.
Gotcha. So your sayings is just a journal and figure out.
Yeah, well, I mean, it depends on what you're really talking about. You kind of are. I mean, being vague, like they're going towards this possible bad situation because they're, over motivated by work or money. I would say practice meditation if you don't, because that can kind of get you out of it, and then you can look at your life and say like, okay, this isn't working over here and this isn't working over here.
Okay.
But yeah, being mindful, being present, and seeing like, hey, I worked 90 hours this week and I didn't take my son to the park and I didn't bring my wife flowers. I didn't do these things that are my true self. Like, who are you?
That's interesting.
I'm the guy that, once my kids are grown and stuff, but if I wanted to come home to my kids, I want to take them to the park, I want to go do something fun with them. If that stops, then I'm not being true to myself.
Yeah.
And then I'm the one that suffers. Yeah, they suffer, but my soul or my inner child or whatever, that thing's suffering. And then you're kind of off balance.
And kids grow up quick, and before you know it, you can't do it, and opportunities gone. I think it's a great way to finish. Yeah. Thank you so much. That was a pleasure. That was very enlightening. Yeah. You got me thinking like very outside. It's the first day I met you, I was just thinking differently. Right. So the meditation's been great, and awesome. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.